So the 2011 edition, back on the WRC after a year away when it was part of the IRC series. It's based in the Cordoba region in Carlos Paz, some 700 kilometers northwest of Buenos Aires. And it will be 19 stages over 3 days, 378 competitive kilometers of action. So it has been an unbelievable championship so far. Sebastian Loeb with exactly 100 points extended his lead over Mikko Kievan with his win in Sardinia last time out. So we watch what happens with the manufacturers. A 17-point lead that Citroën Total have over Ford Abu Dhabi, and M Sport still in third, just ahead of Petter Solberg. So a new stage for 2011, the Super Especial Carlos Paz in the area where the service park is based. On the Thursday evening, just a very short stage, 3.02 Ks. And it was run in reverse order. So the top drivers in the championship going later in the order, that obviously helping to contribute to their times being a little bit better.
Gauche 120, sur droite 130 plus rasé.
Fourth and third in the championship respectively. Harry Matilapra and Sebastian Ogier coming through together.
Short 2, opens, long, tightens, keep burying over crest, into 6 left over crest, half long, opens, 30, 3. 20, strike right, 3 left over crest, tightens, 2 max tightens, 1 plus, 6 right, opens over crest, 40, keep left over big jump, 20, 6 right minus half long, tightens, 5 half long, tightens, keep in, 2 left over crest, tightens, 1 minus double tightens.
Start to get a real flavour of these wonderful stages, even on the super special. And in comes the world champion, 5 victories consecutively. The last 5 running of this event in the World Rally Championship.
Ok,
ciel pour gauche en plus long. Sur droiti. Sur gauche à fond, pas corde en ciel sur frein pour 62 mètres, gauche en plus mi-long. Sur droite à fond. Et poste 4 tout droit sur attention 50 mètres. Droite ferme 138 bon frein. Pour gauche 80 moins de taux. Ouvre. Gauche 80 moins de taux, ouvre. Et pont sur 10 mètres, droite 110 plus. Et droite 120 plus long tard sur frein. Pour gauche 80 moins. Okay.
It was Sebastian Loeb that was to come through quickest, 0.9 faster than Solberg, ahead of Ogier, Latvala, Kievanen, and local hero Federico Viagra coming through in 6th position. So this is what we have a look at the total of day 1. First stage we've seen actually was on the Thursday night, but 6 stages to be completed on the Friday. The El Mirador and the Mina Clavero stages. Mina Clavero, one of the real legendary stages of the event. Just before 7 AM local time, and what was a very chilly morning, bright as you can see. Sebastian Loeb, familiar situation, charging into the stages. Opening car on the road and all the usual issues of potentially sweeping, particularly noticeable here in Argentina with, as you can see, some very, very soft and very deep surface in various different places.
140 pour Milon. Sur droite 140, 150 mètres. Gauche 140 bon en ciel. Gauche 140 bon en ciel. 130 mètres. Droite 130 plus.
As you perhaps expect, Sebastian Loeb, of course, not able to quite put in the sort of times that the cars coming through behind him were as they got a progressively cleaner road. Of course, second on the road Second in the championship, Rico Kievan, and you can see that even with a 2-minute interval between the top crews, still a little bit of dust hanging in the air from Sebastian Loeb's car as he comes into the stage.
Varo ulko, 5, oikein eri ylilypy kirraa, 5. Lyhyt vasen nopea aukea ylilypy kivi sisällä suppuun. 8, pitkä nyppy, oikein K, mene ja aja.
Kievan came through the first bit. It's apparent that, yes, an advantage had been gained by the Finn, but certainly not a significant amount. Less than a second between him and Loeb.
Léger droite 150 ancienne d'Est, 120 mètres.
Sebastian Ogier only has had experience of this rally once before in 2009. Took a 7th place finish there in the C4. As we heard at the beginning of the show, he was pretty positive about the rally.
300 mètres. Loeb toujours moins 1.
Frustrating rally last time out for him with problems towards the end especially.
54 points comme 120 plus millions, pas tendanciel. 2 gros freins, 40 mètres, gauche en 10 bon. Gauche 110 bon. Sur droite 123, tard frein, jette pour gauche 90, moins millions, tard qui ferme, 90 moins millions, tard qui ferme. Sur droite 118 millions, droite 118 millions, 60 mètres, jump pour gauche en 40, moins millions, jump pour gauche en 40, moins millions. Sur gros frein avant droite 123 pour gauche.
Ogier coming through the time of 10:30.6. Quicker than Sebastian Loeb, but just by 0.2 of a second. Quite telling perhaps at this early stage on an 18-kilometre stage. Well, Jari-Matti Latvala was the absolute star in the previous rally Sardinia in terms of sheer speed after going out on the opening stage with the roll after a miscalled note rather by Mika Antia. Surely there's enough pace there with him and with Solberg running fifth on the road to be able to potentially challenge for outright success here in Argentina.
3 left minus half long, 1 right, double tight.
Solberg intentionally kept the tyres from shakedown over for the first stage and putting the second fastest stage time on that opening stage on the Thursday night.
Flat 6 right over crest, keep in 60, slide left half long, and keep left over crest into 1 right. Half long tightens, half long, keep in. 2 left minus half long tightens, keep in, over water, 30, 6 right into 6. Crest into 6 right plus opens, 20, keep middle over long crest, 30, 6 right plus half long tightens, 5 minus tightens, 4, opens over crest, 60, line, 2 left.
Petter was ultimately to come through with the second fastest time on the stage at 10:29.5.
4 right plus tightens, 2 minus extra long, tightens 1 plus. Top 6 left plus into 2 right.
So from 6 on the road, the 23-year-old Norwegian comes into the stage. First experience of Rally Argentina. Feels very positive about it as we heard at the beginning, but slightly concerned about the long tarmac stage, which we'll explain a bit more about later on.
Full höger i krön, omgående kort 4 vänster plus ben in. 40, lite krön till vänster i vänster plus som öppnar och nyper 2 till över krön. 40.
See what Osberg was saying before about how twisty and rough some of these stages really are, really bouncing the car around quite significantly.
22 efter på 17. 2 vänster som nyper sten in.
Had some terrible luck with gearbox issues earlier in the year. Much better run last time out. He came through with the 7th fastest time on the stage. Osberg.
14, slight right 20, max right 6 long of a crest 50, max crest bump 30, flat left keep in 20, right 6, 80, cut left 4 plus long fast. 80.
The concerns over Matthew Wilson's budget for the balance of the season. Announced in the press it really is going to be touch and go as to whether sufficient funding can be found. So important to get a solid result here. He's had some strong runs already this year.
Max crest 160.
Matthew Wilson comes through with the 6th fastest time of 10:39.8, but it was Jari-Matti Latvala who won the stage. Petter Solberg now 3 seconds behind him overall, ahead of Kievan and Ogier Loeb. After charging through the 2 opening stages of the day, the El Condor stage is the one which is going to cause most interest here. Loeb calmly cleaning the screen of his car. An Argentinian flag displayed, as it has been the traditional throughout the year with Citroën. They put the flag of the country that they're rallying in.
As you can see.
Maybe you have to go slower.
Loeb in a very typically Loeb type way, saying, yeah, maybe you have to go slower, Jari-Matti, because of looking at the tyres. So this is going to be such a significant stage for everybody, because we have a real change to what is a very traditional stage in this rally, a 20-kilometre section on gravel. So of the 37.32 Ks, over half of it will be, on tarmac, and that has caused some concern. There's even talk from Michelin before the event that they may well put a remote service in after here, just to ensure that from a safety point of view, the amount of wear that's going to go through the gravel tyres working hard on tarmac could potentially cause issues. So they may be able to assess and possibly change tyres midway between stages. Same tyre allocation as is always the same at each WRC event. And obviously all of the top teams running on the Michelin lateral cross tyre, the tyre that's been changed quite significant in terms of its construction prior to Jordan, and obviously that made a big difference in terms of prior to Portugal, and that made a big difference in terms of the reliability of the tyre. They had so many punches early on where the Michelin engineers had gone for performance. Change here.
Plus d'arrêt 3 et 40 mètres, attention, gros frein, gauche 80 millions qui ferme, pour droite 90 plus, droite 90 plus sur gauche à fond, 70 mètres, droite 120, moins, pour gauche 130 à fond, 70 mètres, gauche 130 plus corps de jet, 80 mètres, attention, droite 130 bon sur un frein, gauche droite 120 plus, gauche droite 120 plus, 60 mètres, frein droite 80 millions.
So far, Sebastian Loeb has completed the stage at a time of 23 minutes and 31.1 seconds. Splits indicating Ogier may be very slightly quicker. Ultimately, Ogier was to come through third fastest on the stage to 23:28.9, 2.2 up on Sebastian Loeb. That puts him ahead of Loeb overall into third position. Sparkling performance so far from Jari-Matti Latvala, fastest on stages 2 and 3. He now sits at exactly 3 seconds over Petter Solberg. For Jari-Matti, especially the stage in Jordan, where it took the most amount of time out of Ogier trying to push for that win, was just one of the most incredible sights. So this is part of the 20 Ks of tarmac that the crews are concerned about. As you can see, very high speed. Concerned that it's going to be a lot of cuts taken, and as you can see just there, Mikko Hirvonen perfectly on cue describes that to us, and again, and that's logically going to put lots of gravel on the road as the rest of the crews come through. Big entry overall, but only 11 cars from the latest WRC generation cars.
Vasen täys yli 2 nyppy sisältä, pidä saattaa oikein täys, oi jos saattaa, huomio varo, nyppy vasen laita täys, 4 oikein täys, kerran kooks, yli nyppy sisältä, jarru, ja pitkä vasen hidas oi jo, kanto lopussa, 5, oikein nopea mene sisältä, käännä, 7,
Just about as much as he could there, did Mikko Hirvonen.
200, huomio, Varro.
Of course, on gravel tyres, on tarmac, the car moving around an awful lot. Very difficult to judge braking points. And of course, how much grip level you've got. But these guys obviously working within that parameter well. So you go to Peter Solberg. Mikko Hirvonen ultimately came through the time of 23:33.6 behind Ogier and Loeb in terms of times. Fight for stage win, looking certainly more likely to go to either Solberg or Latvala. Out of it, but Solberg comes through. Time of 23:28.2. What of the rally leader though? Hirvonen has dropped down to 5th behind Ogier and Loeb. Jari Matti on the split times as he heads into the tarmac section, looking incredibly strong. Look at the top speed.
30 oikein 2 yli nypyn. 30 vasen 2 yli 2 nypyn. 30 oikein 2 sisältä. 40 varo vasen 1 yli nypyn jarru. Jatko oikein 3 pitkä kirraa 5 yli nypyn sisältä.
The stage by 9.3 seconds. Extends his lead over Peter Solberg to 12.3 with Ogier now up to 3rd ahead of Loeb, and Hirvonen now down to 5th. Osberg, Wilson, Valagra, Ken Brock and Patrick Flodin. Argentina, their first leg, and this was one of the most spectacular accidents of the year so far before the rally started in Portugal for Ken Block.
Last time I was in the car, I was upside down, and now I've had 8 weeks off because of the baby, but I'm very happy to be back here, and you know, the baby was born very healthy. Mommy's, you know, Lucy's doing great, so it's been good. I was feeling really, really good in the car prior to that. I had good 2 runs in the shakedown before that. The times were good, and yeah, fortunately for me and Alex, there were no real injuries from that. I bruised the side of my foot, but I was snowboarding a week later, so all good and happy to be back in the car now. The thing is, I'm still learning. I'm learning so much, and I just don't have that much time in the car, so every time I'm in a shakedown like that, I'm trying to push just slight percentages more to learn, and that's all I did in that corner was push just a very slight percentage more, and the rear end stepped out, and that was it. So the thing that I'm still working on probably the most is you know, the pace notes, because I should have had something on that corner that if I did go wide, it was dangerous, but you know, I just didn't have something on that corner. I've actually been away from the car for so long. I've been very hungry to get back in the car. Yeah, I must admit though, the first run took it a little bit easy, but you know, once I felt good on it, I got back up to speed. You got to treat this rally with a lot of respect and drive it a bit more cautious. You know, like one of my notes to myself going into the rough stage is like attack the middle of the road, because every corner has literally something dangerous on it. So it's quite a unique event, and you know, I'm looking forward to racing it, but you know, my expectations are a bit reserved, because you got to treat this event with just a lot of respect.
So the afternoon loop, the El Mirador, Emilio Claviero stage is the second running through there. First, a chance to see Sebastian Loeb, and now some controversy hanging over Loeb, as it would appear that he is going to be docked 1 minute to his time, because Daniel Elena seemed to have clocked into the service a couple of seconds early. And that would obviously incur a time penalty, so that could be significant as to what happens. We'll get a chance to find out if that is confirmed. Meanwhile, Sebastian Loeb confident that the second pass through these wonderful stages will be a little bit better for him. We heard that he's confident how it had gone so far, 18.9 seconds away from rally leader Jari-Matti Latvala after those first 4 stages.
Oikein nopea, tiukka, kirraa, pidä. 3. Vasen hidas, tiukka, kirraa vähän. 100. Lyhyt oikee, hidas yli.
Mikko Hirvonen's tyres were completely finished at the end of that last stage that we saw, stage 4 with the tarmac section. A lot of the crews were concerned about it. Was literally a completely bald tyre, looked like a slick racing tyre when it came back. Much more consistent season, of course, so far.
Vasen tosi hidas, menee ja kirraa vähän. 4. Oikee, tosi hidas. Silta.
Ultimately, Mikko came through by the end of stage 6, sitting there in 4th position, fighting with this man, Sébastien Ogier.
Attention, gros frein, droite 100 Milon mini léger tard. Et 350 mètres, moins 0,9 lobe. Un peu tard comme frein, ça. Gros frein avant léger ciel. Avant léger ciel, 50 mètres de Champin, moins Milon.
Stage 5, fighting hard with his teammate in terms of stage times, but a small mistake.
250 mètres. 250 mètres, frein gauche 130 plus Tony.
Was to cost Sébastien Ogier some 5 seconds. Ultimately came through at the end of stage 5.
Frein avant gauche 132.
So would have been very close to taking the stage win. So far this rally has been about this man. The 26-year-old Finn has been so quick this year. Taking stage win after stage win in Sardinia from so far Petter Solberg so far it has been a consistent day. Second fastest on stages 2 and 3 and 4, and also on stage 5. The only driver really to keep Jari-Matti Latvala in check so far.
Hit 6 right, half long, to press, opens long, tightens, one plus.
So Petter Solberg has taken 17 stage wins so far in 2011. As he charges across the line, he wins the stage by 1.6 seconds from Ogier. Takes some time out of Jari-Matti Latvala. Lead now 12.1 the Latvala has, and that is his 400th stage win of his career. Always wonderful to see the smile of Petter Solberg. That's what it looks like. Latvala leads Solberg by 12.1, 12 seconds, 10 seconds behind is Ogier. Heaven and then Loeb with that 1 minute penalty applied after stage 5 now, and 32 behind. So the second run of the rally so far through the legendary El Condor stage, the stage that's caused so much concern and a little bit of controversy because a number of the crews not really liking the fact that there's a 20k tarmac section in here, which is really asking a lot of the tyres. Some of the drivers in the first run through tried to set up changes. We heard from Latvala, who dropped the car by 20 mil, which is a bit of a compromise on the gravel but worked very well on the tarmac. Curious to see if anybody does the same on the second pass. Block still exercising some of that caution that we heard him talk about a little bit before. Comes through 9th quickest on the stage. Rosberg has had a solid run through the first of the day's rally stages because conscious of learning the stages and really wasn't looking forward to this section at all. Preferred surface of those taking part in this year. Sits there in 6th position. He had quite a big fight with his teammate Matthew Wilson. Wants to end up coming through 6th fastest on the stage to end the day, still 6th. Ahead of Matthew Wilson by 32.2 seconds. What of Sebastian Loeb though? Well, obviously very frustrated with the time penalty.
Sur gauche à fond.
Interesting that much like Jari-Matti Latvala, when Antila made a mistake in the last rally, Loeb not at all concerned about his co-driver Daniel Elena. Said that there were a number of people clambered around the time clock and the boards and he couldn't quite see them, and it was just a couple of seconds mistake.
Ouvre. Et droite 80, mais donc pas corde.
Difficult is that section. But Sebastian Loeb's time of 23:19.4, a very, very strong. Look at that wonderful shot. The commitment of Mikko Hirvonen.
Täys aukeaa yli nypyn 150. Vasen täys ja nyppy keskeltä, oikea loiva pitää 5, vasen loiva tiukka aukeaa yli nypyn käännös.
Hirvonen comes through the time of 23:34.9. Crucial to see what this man does in relation to the 30-year-old Finn.
Et droite frein sur gauche sans plus. Gauche sans plus. Et droitier sur gauche sans 12 freins.
Another one like Hirvonen who's been put in third and fourth fastest times in pretty much consistently throughout the day. Second fastest on the previous stage at Mina Clavero.
Droite 122 freins sur gauche 90 très longtemps.
10 seconds behind Peter Solberg and 7.9 ahead of Mikko Hirvonen.
Droite 90 long. Pour droite à fond sur gauche 133 freins, pour droite 100 tard. Gauche 133.
She comes through fourth fastest on the stage. Ends up 10.6 behind Peter Solberg. Solberg a solid day with second places on every stage except of course the stage 6 that we just saw him take victory on.
6 right minus long, tightens early over crest, opens long, keep burying, and 6 left minus tight, 5 half long, tightens 4 half long.
Closest to Latvala throughout the day, and especially on this stage, previous running through.
Keep right, slight left over crest.
23:27 was the time for Peter Solberg. Of course, the question is, what will Jari-Matti Latvala end up with at the end of the day?
Vasen 2.20, oikein 3 miinus, älä yli nypyn aukee, pirun pitkä.
Midway through the stage though, Jari-Matti was to have a stall running wide, cost him some time, but he still ended up leading the rally by 18.2 seconds, was second fastest behind Sebastian Loeb on that final stage. Loeb taking his second stage win of the day, but very close between. Really looked it in the way that he was just on top of the car throughout the day. Fantastic performance by Latvala. So day 2 we'll see 8 stages, 160 Ks. So Loeb explaining how the penalty took place. Without that, he would have been just 1.5 seconds behind Ogier. But as you can see, great day for Jari-Matti Latvala ahead of Peter Solberg, Ogier, Hirvonen, Loeb. Good performance by Osberg Wilson, Valagra Block, and Hayden Padden comfortably leading the PWRC category and 10th overall. So the opening stage of the day, the Las Jarillas stage. And this is another stage whereby we've got mixed conditions. Mixed surface rather. As you can see, this is going into winter time in Argentina, being in the southern hemisphere, diametrically opposite to what we're used to in Europe. So Jari-Matti knows it's going to be a much tougher day, but for the same approach of dropping the suspension for this stage, see if that would work. Well, Peter Solberg has had a relatively trouble-free day 1 for once. Feeling very confident about his road position for day 2.
6 right minus extra long. Okay, 6 right minus extra long, tightens half long, keep in. 40, 4 right minus tightens, 2 minus tightens, 1 plus. Yeah, half long tightens, plus, and line. 2 right minus tightens, 1 half long tightens, half long.
Later in the stage, there was to be a small spin for Peter Solberg, which has cost him some time. Handed the initiative a little bit more to this man, Ogier. Great road position for him, as it is indeed for Sebastian Loeb. That penalty always going to be a struggle.
Ja vasen täys 7. Vasen täysylynnypyn keskeltä 6. Vasen koo tiukka sitä kirraa, lyhyt vesi.
The opportunity to change tyres between stages. That follows lead now 22 points. So we ride on board with Sebastian Loeb. Let's see whether those new tyres have made a significant difference. They file themselves into stage 9. La Pajares Villa del Dique stage, 16.5 Ks. Another stage that hasn't been used since 07. It was used in an opposite direction last time. Much faster, more open than the stages we saw on day 1, which were very, very tight and twisty, and a lot of them very uphill. Apart from the tarmac sections, they were very much a mountainous part of the area.
210, oikein hypyn liimaa.
Loeb at the end of that stage. Came through looking very, very good for possibly winning the stage. Split times.
30 hyppy oikealla, siinä on vähän 50.
150 mètres derrière, droite 150 et 100 mètres frein gauche.
This is the man most likely to at the moment. Sebastian Ogier having moved up into second place at the end of stage 8. 22.2 behind Jari Matti, but on the split times. Very, very good to take quite a significant amount of time out of him on this relatively short stage. Remember, it's only 16.5 Ks this stage.
Gauche 120 plus. Gauche 120 plus, 200 mètres.
Up at every split so far.
Attention, frein.
7.2 out of Jari Matti's lead, so it's 15 seconds. Del Solberg now, just 1.5 behind Ogier, Mika Järvinen, and then Sebastian Loeb, despite the stage win, still struggling to get back in. So day 2 of Rally Argentina started cold, as you could imagine. 20.33, 21.36 at the next couple of stages, stage 10 and stage 11. Charges into the stage, knowing that the next few stages are going to be crucial for him to potentially hang on to his lead.
6 right minus upper crest, opens, long tights, 4 minus tights, 2 half long. And 6 left plus half long, 6 right long.
Apart from that spin on the opening stage, last stage has been good for Peter Solberg, second quickest on stage 9. To maintain that gap between him and Ogier.
Half long, 40, slight right, and 5 left, half long tights, 3 plus tightens. 5 left plus tightens, 3 plus opens, half long tights, 2, half long, 40, 6 right, extra long, 30, slight left, 150.
Stage 10, Peter Solberg came through 5th fastest. 4.2 behind this man, Sebastian Ogier.
Droiti et gros frein 80 mètres, droite 90 plus million. Droite 90 plus million qui ouvre.
Ogier third fastest on stage 10.
120 mètres.
Goes into stage 11 knowing now.
En léger ciel sur droite 150 en ciel, 80 mètres.
Can maintain the gap, down to 14.3 behind Jari Matti.
Droite gauche 140 plus, droite gauche 140 plus, 120 mètres. Frein droite 130 plus corde, droite 130 plus corde, pour gauche 150 millions. Gauche 150 millions, 200 mètres.
Through stage 11, 5th fastest, the gap back up for Jari Matti to 17.8. Well, of Mika Järvinen, well, we heard that he had problems on the first stage with the car grinding out on the bedrock. Thereafter, put in a couple of solid times. 4th fastest on stage 9. 2nd fastest on stage 10. 20.6 behind Solberg. Going into this, the Santa Rosa stage 11.
Lyhyt vasen loiva. Huomio. Nyp lyhyt oikee. Jarru 3.
Between Peter Solberg and Mika Järvinen. Well, after the opening stage, we heard from Sebastian Loeb that made the wrong choice with tyres. Stage 9 saw stage victory for him. Likewise on stage 10. The gap now down to 35.3 behind Mika Järvinen going into stage 11.
Sur droitier, on bosse 6. Sur gauche.
Till uppsving till vänster minus på frön.
Well, the Stober M Sport team have had a good start to their campaign, with a brilliant start, in fact, with this young man finishing second in the opening rally of the year. He's had a lot of technical issues at various different rallies, but has been plugging away, learning rallies like this one that he's not used to. Very, very good for a top 6 finish. He's been running in top 6 stage times already. Stage 7 he was 6th. He finishes 6th on stage 11. Well, we haven't seen too much of El Coyote, the man who recently turned 42 years old. Federico Verlaga, the 9-time Argentinian rally champion, has by his own admission really struggled to get to grips with the Fiesta WRC car in 2011. Hopeful, of course, of trying to match his 4th place finish the last time the WRC was here. Of Matthew Wilson, so that's what it looks like. Latvelar's lead sits at 17.8 ahead of Ogier. Solberg still very close, and Herveder now feeling a little bit more pressure from Sebastian Loeb. So fascinating insight into the two of the best co-drivers in the world. Go back to Las Charillas, this mixed surface stage, the second pass. Now, one of the comments that came through from Sebastian Loeb after that first run through was that a lot of gravel being dragged onto the road, because of course he was 4th on the road, so maybe Jari-Matti wouldn't have had to encounter that on the first run. Second run through could well be an issue for him. He knows he's under big pressure from Ogier.
Keep burying. 6 right
minus come through 3rd on the stage. Gap down to 10.6 going into stage 13. What a Peter Solberg is very close to Ogier going into it.
Opens 60. Keep very left over press. 6 right extra long tight. 5 plus half long tightens.
Solberg was to come through a time of 12:30.0. Question is, of course, what of this man, Sebastian Ogier?
Gauche 150 en jump.
Apparent there from Ogier. Feeling much more confident on his second pass through.
120 mètres, gauche 150 000 jette.
Ogier was to come through to win the stage, win stage 12, and to move within 10.6 to Jari-Matti.
4.
Mikko Hirvonen still not really enjoying the feel of the car.
Vasenloiva keskeltä kirraa Eriks lopussa sisään. Heti nyppy keskeltä 3. Oikein eri tiukka käännä, Kaide sisällä. 8. Vasen Eri kirraa kivi sisällä.
He'll come through the 5th fastest time.
Gauche sur ciel tout droit.
Sebastian Loeb heading into stage 13 now, having finished 2nd on stage 12, got the gap down to just 19.4 seconds behind Mikko Hirvonen.
Gauche à fond long.
Comes through very slowly.
50.
Seems to be a problem with Jari-Matti Latvala. Was 21 seconds on that stage.
Line into 6 right minus long, tightens a little, half long, tightens over crest. Opens long to crest, opens 50. 50, keep left over crest early, 6 right plus.
4th fastest, but is only 4.2 behind Jari-Matti Latvala at the end of that stage. Sebastian Ogier is looking very, very good on this stage. The splits coming through looking incredibly strong versus Loeb, who's his nearest rival in terms of times on the stage. Takes the lead of the rally by 11.2 seconds. Ogier leads from Latvala. Peter Solberg now just over 4 seconds behind Latvala. Hirvonen closing down, and also Loeb closing down on Hirvonen big time. Osberg, Villagra.
6 right plus long, keep in.
Turn out to be a suspension problem. Now Petter Solberg, we've seen absolutely flying so far on this rally. Superb day one, taking his 400th stage win on stage 6. Been in the top 3 in every other stage, in fact in the top 2 in all bar 1.
6 right minus tight.
With Jari-Matti Latvala's problems, he moves to second overall in the rally, 21.1 behind leader Ogier, and 20 seconds ahead of Hirvonen, who in turn is under pressure from Loeb. 2011 edition, and there has been some fierce action at the front of the Production World Rally Championship. Patrick Flodin and Maria Andersson having a problem on day one, even though managed to get the car going again.
Some electrical problem. The car just stopped here, and yeah, we can't find the problem. The switches are burning, so we have a strange problem, and I don't know what it is.
A huge frustration for Flodin, but the day had been from the beginning about a battle between him, Kosciuszko, and also between Hayden Padden. Kosciuszko, of course, saw in the 2000 category to Poland. This problem on day one, bringing down the order.
Great crest, blue, 5 right tightens late.
Meanwhile, for Hayden Padden, it had been pretty smooth sailing. Kiwi, who won the previous round of the championship in Portugal, looking to overhaul championship leader Martin Semerad.
Here, 6 right tightens.
With the dramas affecting both Kosciuszko and also Flodin. Semerad also having puncture on day one. It became pretty much plain sailing, gradually extending his lead. Flodin and Kosciuszko both in action again on day 2 on the Super Rally Royals. Flodin seemed to have cured the mysterious misfire and damage from Kosciuszko's car having been fixed. But Padden just edged out his lead. 8 minutes the lead he has over Flodin, with Kosciuszko, Tagarov, Fuchs, Semerad, and then some local drivers beyond that, plus Yuri Protasov and Lilari rounding out the top 10 in the category. We're back to the action in the main class, in the WRC class. Mats Osberg and Matthew Wilson both looking to get a top 6 finish for M Sport. A puncher on stage 10. Tyre came off the rim for Matthew Wilson, costing him some significant time and giving Villagra a chance to get himself ahead.
Max left 5 in, 40, wow, 20, right 2 plus, continues long.
We go through to end the day at the end of stage 15. For Matthew Wilson, still in 7th position and trying to close down on this man, Federico Villagra. Some setup changes for the second loop. The only significant thing that we talk about with Mats Osberg today, no other major issues. He said he was playing it very, very safe, wanted to just get experience of this rally, the adapter car working well throughout. End of the day, 5th position. Long way away from 4th, but similarly almost a minute ahead of Villagra.
4 right tight short, 1 plus over crest, opens, half long, keep in, and 6 left minus long.
Petter Solberg just 2Ks into this final stage. Second position that he just managed to gain from Jari-Matti Latvala was to go and look at the effort going through the steering. A power steering failure on the DS3 WRC car was costing Solberg badly. Petter was to finish over a minute down on fastest time and dropped to 4th overall in the standings. 28.4 behind this man, Sebastian Loeb. Loeb has had an outstanding day, as we've often seen on day 2. Seems to be Loeb Day in World Rally Championship, less so this year.
Et double, attention, droite 121, frein ancienne pour gauche 90 plus, vraiment pas corde. 100 mètres.
Sebastian Loeb wins the final stage of the day. Pressure therefore well and truly on this man, Mikko Kievinen. Not had a bad day, but certainly not been able to have any answer for the other challengers immediately around him. Better afternoon for him with the road position, but a number of top 3 stage times for him in the afternoon. Stage move into 2nd position in the rally with Solberg's position. Solberg having his problems rather. But the rally leader is Sébastien Ogier. A superb drive throughout the 2nd day from the Frenchman, plus dramas for Jari-Matti Lahtmala. 2nd on the final stage of the day. So this is what it looks like, 43.7 seconds the leader Ogier takes into the final day. Loeb though closing down on Kievinen. Solberg's dramas putting him out of the fight surely for a podium. Mads Osberg, Villagra, Wilson doing a great job for M Sport. Hayden Padden dominating the PWRC. So the final day, it's going to be a short day in terms of stages, but one enormous stage. Of course dropped out of major contention, but never say never for Sebastian Loeb. Watch this show, you will see some tremendous action. And of course, the first part of the action starts with this incredible 48 kilometers of the Askoshinga stage. Sebastian Ogier knows that all he has to do is to keep everything under control. For this big stage, he has 3 relatively short stages. Other than that, only 10 Ks in total on top of this over 3 stages, including, of course, the all-important power stage. And let's watch with interest as Ogier attacks the Askoshinga stage very early in the morning. They left service at 5 AM. So concerns over fog and similar situations of quite a damp surface, so perhaps being first on the road is less of a disadvantage than it normally would be. You can see the fog that was causing concerns for the drivers as Mikko Kievinen 2nd in the rally, defending a lead of just 4 seconds over Sebastian Loeb. On the splits, the first couple of splits, he was 2.1 seconds up on Ogier. Challenge even greater for the crews. So on Sebastian Loeb, that 1 minute time penalty, of course, costing him dearly, but a spectacular day on day 2. Several stage wins, putting him back in contention. Back to 3 stage wins on the trot, and then a final 2 wins of the day to really signal that the man who's won this event now 5 years consecutively. Of course, last year not part of the World Rally Championship, won by Juha Hananen in the IRC series.
Sur gauche à fond.
So back with our rally leader, Sebastian Ogier. Clearly, despite the damp conditions and the fog, still putting in solid times. Of course, doesn't need to take any risks with such a big lead.
Attention, frein avant gauche 123 qui ferme 110 moins jette sur un frein 20 mètres gauche 90 plus Milon, 20 mètres gauche 90 plus Milon, sur droite 118, droite 118 et gauche 120 mètres, frein avant droite 110 moins tenir, 110 moins tenir, sur gauche 110 mini, 60 mètres, droite 100 moins Milon et 3 anciennes, 100 moins Milon.
Incredible drama, Sebastian Ogier rolls. Sebastian Ogier has rolled the car midway through the Askoshinga stage.
Sur gauche, sur droite 130.
He hasn't been able to continue. He has managed to get the car going again. The rally lead.
Looks to me like he may have
So this, of course, has a superb opportunity to a man that, by his own admission, has not got the best out of himself over this rally. He said he's been trying really hard, because the times have not been coming the way that he would have hoped. Mikko Kievinen, the 30-year-old Finn, has now got a superb opportunity. Well, it was a 4-second advantage that Kievinen had over Loeb going into the day. And of course, we all know that you can never, ever underestimate this man in a fight. He's proved it time and time again. And the splits, as Mikko Kievinen said, were pretty much in his favour for the first half of the stage, then have started to go towards Sébastien Loeb. But always you can count on Loeb for honesty, and he clearly has been pushing remarkably hard. A time of 35.53.7, the quickest so far. This surely is the only man that could do anything about possibly taking a stage win from him.
Long, 120. 2 bike over crest.
It was second position on the stage for Sobert. Look at the lead now. 21 seconds, almost half the lead. The battle in these final stages is on as Ogier tries to effect repairs out of the World Rally Championship, and it could not have been a more dramatic start. We've seen Sébastien Ogier rolling whilst leading on the opening stage, and then we saw this man, Jari-Matti Latvala, be absolutely superb on day one. 4 stage wins and a good lead at the end of the day. Was wiped away when on stage 13, a hidden rock in part of the very soft soil that we see here in Argentina picked up damage to the truck control arm, and obviously that kind of damage, something that couldn't be repaired immediately, so put Latvala effectively out of the rally. Position over 12 minutes off the lead, but in with a shout of overtaking Matthew Wilson perhaps. Mats Osberg has had a solid couple of days, no major dramas, a few handling issues on day 2. A little bit of a power steering problem as well. Said that over the jumps when the car landed, it was sort of locking the steering a little bit. But nothing compared to the problems that we've seen with power steering with other drivers. Seems to have been a bit of a running theme. So here we didn't have a problem with it, and we've seen, of course, this weekend Peter Solberg have a problem with it. Day 3:39 away from Peter Solberg. And of course, this man, a local hero, had some problems on day 1 with the car falling onto 3 cylinders, a fuel-related issue causing that. That was rectified, and he seemed to have used his local knowledge well on day 2 to put in stronger and stronger times. Wants to finish the stage 7th. He sits there 7th overall. So for Matthew Wilson, it's been an interesting rally for him. No major issues other than the fact that obviously it is one of those rallies that is such a challenging event. But drama for Wilson on the stage, the opening stage of the day. Wants to cost him 6 minutes, drop him down to 8th position. So we heard from Ken Block earlier in the show saying that found the first day massively physically demanding, having not been in a rally car for quite some time. Said it was hurting his wrists, were so twisty on the opening day.
The Ford Doncat, right 4. The Ford Doncat, right 4. 30, left 3 minus E.
16 of the day was to set the 23rd fastest time, but this is what it looks like after all the drama. Ogier now only leads by 21.5 seconds. just ahead of Mikko Hirvonen is Sebastian Loeb, who's moved into second position. Solberg, Osberg, Valagra, Latvala, and then the rest. Now, this is the big story. Repairs trying to be effected by Sebastian Ogier. What is the damage to the car other than the cosmetic damage?
80 mètres.
Well, it was to turn out that the big problem was power steering issues. The power steering had broken in the shunt. And as you can imagine, even on a short stage, that's going to cause some huge problems for Ogier. Fighting the car hard though. Of course, still gives a huge initiative to this man, Mikko Hirvonen, to try to wrest second place and possibly even victory from Sebastian Loeb.
Ja maali, lyhyt oikein täys. 130, lyhyt jarru.
So this is the man to watch. Surely Loeb is absolutely on a mission. Look at the level of commitment. Would you expect anything else from the 37-year-old? Crosses the line. So the exact gap is 2.2 seconds between Loeb and Hirvonen and 12.8 seconds between Ogier and Loeb, with just 2 stages remaining. What can Peter Solberg do? Well, it's going to be a tough call to try and close down on the battling 2 ahead of him, battling 3 ahead of him really. It was 3rd fastest on the stage for Peter Solberg. Gap 31.5 seconds at the end of stage 17. Ken Block though, it has looked superb this stage. Of course, they're running the stage earlier in the weekend.
50, left 5 in over crest, 50 right 3 late, 50 right 3 late, over crest, 30, left 5, 70, right 6.
Right next to the stage that was used for shakedown here, so the crew's getting a good feel for it. But Block comes through with the 5th fastest time on the stage in the end. Incredible performance by Ken Block.
50, right 3 in.
Best finish so far for him. So for Matthew Wilson, after that huge disappointment of the opening stage, where 6 minutes were lost in total because of the water being sucked into the engine. He comes through also with a great time, 6th fastest for Matthew Wilson. Still sits there though in 8th overall. So Ogier leads by just 12.8 with 2 stages remaining in Argentina. Hirvonen a further 2.2 seconds behind. Solberg, Osberg, Valagra, Latvala up to 7th now ahead of Wilson. And then so dramas for many drivers, none less than Jari-Matti Latvala, who had a big problem on day 2 after such a tremendous performance on day 1. Which win as the drivers and crews saunter towards the Super Especial Carlos Paz. Of course, the Super Special from Thursday night. Ogier actually won that Super Special. Just 3.02 kilometers.
Et poste 4 tout droit sur attention 50 mètres, droite ferme centre de 8 bon frein. Pour gauche 80 moins tôt.
Sebastian Ogier, well, Loeb comes through with a time of 2:26.1.
Droite 130 pour un frein 30 mètres, gauche 120 moins long tard. 120 moins long tard, ferme fort.
No split times available because of the short nature of this stage. Visibly noticeable that Ogier struggling like mad with the car.
Gauche 120, sur droite 130 plus rasé, plus 50 mètres, frein gauche 90, gauche 90, qui ouvre. Pour un gauche 120, et si elle fasse 20 mètres, droite 120 plus plus, 20 mètres droite 120 plus plus. Pour droite 130 plus plus qui ouvre, sur un gauche 155 frein, pour gauche 110 mini. Gauche 110 mini, 40 mètres. Gauche 140 en jump, sur un frein 40 mètres, droite 100 plus. Droite 100 plus. Allez, tiens bon, 40 mètres, droite 140 à fond, pour droite 140 à fond, 50 mètres, frein avant-ciel 15 mètres, gauche 110 plus tard. Gauche 110 plus tard. Pour droite 120 tenir en ciel, 120 tenir, 40 mètres, frein droite 110 plus plus, frein droite 110 plus plus. 20 mètres, gauche 90 moins mi-long. Gauche 90 moins mi-long. Et ciel sur gauche 100 plus mi-long. Gauche 100 plus mi-long, 30 mètres. Ciel à fond sur un gauchiste.
See the enemy quick evident, of course, the cars running in pairs.
Sur droite 130 à fond, 50 mètres. Frein jump 5. Jump 5 pour un 60 mètres, droite 135 mi-long. Frein pour gauche 80 plus mi-long. Gauche 80 plus mi-long, ça.
Oh, you can see a very, very tough landing for Ogier there.
120 plus qui ouvre en ciel. Sur arrivée, sur droite 130.
Really, despite the restrictions in the car, he's trying everything he's got. He also lost the rear wing in that crash.
Lyhyt oikein hidas menee ja käännä penkkaa. 3. Lyhyt oikein tiukka ylinyppy käännä. Heti vasen loiva ylinyppy 4. Vasen hidas tiukka
He haven't do anything about Sebastian Loeb on this stage.
Heti oikein tosi hidas tiukka silta. Vasen tosi hidas menee suppuun 4. Ja maali.
Just 0.2 of a second. Loeb extends the gap over Hirvonen to 2 points. So 3.3 seconds the leader Ogier takes into the final stage. Hirvonen's still there. Look at Peter Solberg has taken an incredible 18 seconds out in Argentina. It has been a pretty straightforward run in PWRC for the man who was to go on to win. For Mikael Kosciuszko though, it's been a difficult run for the pole. Broke his steering arm on Friday's final test, affecting him, and mechanical problems similarly for Patrick Flode, an electrical issue stopping him on day one. Both of those drivers out of serious contention, and it has been completely dominant for this man, for Hayden Padd, the young Kiwi who brought a Pirelli star driver in the past. Absolutely dominated, under no real threat. Martin Simmerad, another of the regular PWRC drivers, also having problems. Haddon took an 8-minute lead into the final day, never looked threatened, drove impeccably to dominate, take his second consecutive victory. So here we go, the final stage. Cabalango Fila Garcia, the power stage. The points on offer, the crews and the top drivers running in reverse order. For Jari-Matti Latvala, surely this is the only chance of some serious points. Looking like 8th position overall is the likely finishing place for him. Peter Solberg, technical issues behind him after day 2's problems, has been flying. Latvala's time was a 2:20.9. That's the benchmark time so far of the top runners. At this point, it's interesting that it's Latvala from Wilson from Osberg. They're the top 3 drivers that have come through so far. But surely Solberg is on for a stronger time. Looks absolutely mighty. The early stages, early part of the stage. Kind of shake of the head there, or nod of the head rather, kind of accepts it. Looks like Petter has gone considerably quicker. 8/10, which on a short stage is enough. Now this is not just a fight for extra points, this is the fight for the win. What can Loeb do against Ogier and Hirvonen?
Gauche 158, ferme 140 cours et droite à fond.
There's Solberg time of 2:20.1, 2:20.6. He's slower than Solberg. Well, that's not the important fight for Loeb. It's what can Ogier and Hirvonen do. Mikko is next into the stage. It's going to be a tall order to ask him to take 2.5 seconds out of Sebastian Loeb. Number 2.4 the gap between Loeb and Hirvonen, 3.3 the gap between Ogier and Loeb.
oikein K-tiukka käännä. Huomio, jarru 6. Nyppy 10, lyhyt oikein tosi hidas yli nyppy pidä.
Again, the characteristics at this stage surely not going to be good for Ogier with his lack of power steering.
Aukeaa yli nyppy, no aja. Jarru 4, oikein kirra lyhyksi hitaaksi yli nyppy tiukka. 5.
Victory in the power stage in Mexico, of course, did Mika Kievanen.
Pikku nyppy oikea laita, jarru 5, vasen tosi hidas risteys sisältä. 7. Ja vesi, vasen hidas tiukka reikä sisällä. 4. Oikein K-tiukka, kirraa, kivi sisällä. 7 yli. Oikein hidas tiukka, aukeaa vähän yli nyppy sisältä pidä. Ja lyhyt vasen hidas oijo. Nyppy kivi sisällä 150. Pitkä vasen täys yli nypyn 200. Lyhyt oikein täys, maali.
There's the time to beat 2:20.6. He matches the time of the... Surely, look at the reaction of Peter Solberg. He knows it's not going to be enough for victory in the rally. Gap stays the same, 2.4 between Kievanen and Loeb, but most importantly, what is Ogier going to be able to do? Will either of them be able to get ahead of Ogier, or possibly both of them? And it's noticeable again from the onboard just how hard work this is for Ogier. Just 3.9 Ks, but toughest bit of driving that Ogier's had to put in throughout the year. Less Ogier has worked a way of driving around the problem. It's not going to be good enough. 2:31.2. Peter Solberg wins the power stage. More importantly, Sebastian Loeb has gone from third to first on the final stage.
He just won stage yesterday with the power steering, and you know, the smaller reward was to win the power stage, and they got 3 points. And for me, it's and Chris, it's great, and for the whole team. So I think it was well deserved, but it would have been nice to have a good fight for the victory here, because this time we had a proper chance to win the rally, and I just have to look forward to the next rally. But very happy.
Surely it's going to come for Peter Solberg at some point this year. He wins the power stage, and with it the extra 3 points ahead of Mikko Kievanen and Sebastian Loeb. But most importantly, Sebastian Loeb takes his 6th consecutive Rally Argentina win, and of course with it extends its lead of the World Rally Championship over Mikko Kievanen. Good result for him. That's what it looks like, 26 points ahead of 20 and 15. A frustrating time for Sebastian Ogier, the second time this year.
Congratulations. Now that must have been a very, very difficult power stage for you to watch.
Well, superlatives kind of run out with this man, don't they? Sebastian Loeb leads the championship now by 13 points over Mikko Kievanen. Ogier in third ahead of Jari Matti and Peter Solberg. Mats Osberg still a solid 6th ahead of Wilson, Ferragra, Raikkonen, and Henning Solberg, of course, opted to miss this rally to focus on the balance of the season. And for the manufacturers, as you can see now, a considerable lead for Citroën Total.